Welcome back to Around the Block with GoodBlock. I'm CJ Welters here hosting today's episode along with Erika and Nathaniel from the GoodBlock team, where we're going to talk about blockchain wallets. Blockchain wallets? Like where my cards go? Aaron Cox with Team Greymass is joining us today to talk about wallets, and we're really excited to have him. Really appreciate his time and the energy he's put into the Anchor wallet. And we're also going to be talking about how you can protect your crypto keys, and we've got some great crypto BS block stuff to talk about. And well, just stay tuned and let's get going. Please welcome Aaron Cox, veteran developer and co-founder of Greymass, one of our favorite BPs and creators of the Anchor wallet. Hi, Aaron. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's nice to meet all of you guys and get to actually talk face to face for the first time. So
yeah, I think I've had conversations with you here and there over the years on Telegram, but
yeah.
I think this is the first time that we've appeared actually having a conversation. So I'm happy that you're here and glad you could join us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same. Me too. Thank you.
It's a pleasure
to have you here.
So one of the things that we wanted to talk about today is wallets, and this is, of course, it's a no-brainer to have you on here, Aaron. And I just want to say that for 4.5 years ago, when I got involved in crypto, I was clueless. In fact, when my friend told me that I needed to get a wallet, I was like, I got wallets. She's like, no, not like that. And so it was such a hard shift in my brain to try to understand this analogy of wallets. And to this day, I'm still like, why do we call it a wallet? Because it's really not. Your money doesn't go in there. Your crypto doesn't go in there. So do you have any insight into the history of that?
I mean, I think it originated back in the early days when you ran the blockchain on your computer, and it was how they coined the software to interact with it. It's really a bad term. When we're doing user support, it really confuses a lot of different people. So I think it might just be a misnomer from really early on, because really what it is more of a password manager than anything else. It holds your keys, and your keys are what lets you access the blockchain. It's hopefully over the coming years we can kind of change that term. We've been using Authenticator a lot recently. We call our mobile app an Authenticator, even though it still has the word wallet there as well, because that's what people search for, even though it doesn't make sense. But hopefully we're early enough on that maybe we can change that paradigm just a little bit, and I don't know, make more sense.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Does Authenticator differentiate it from other kinds of wallets as well? Because we know that there are different types of wallets, right? Some they do very different ththings. So does that mean that it's a certain kind of wallet?
I think so. And Authenticator might not even be a great word for it, but it's authenticating you to the blockchain. And that's a super technical term that a lot of people aren't probably going to register with, but it definitely differentiates what it does. I mean, what you consider a traditional wallet in the blockchain space, not in the real world, those are authenticators too. It's just they also provide you with the user interface, but maybe in this future, a blockchain authenticator can just mean that it's the thing that proves who you are. It's your passport into the blockchain, or there's a lot of words we could play with there.
Right, right.
Nathaniel made a really good analogy for it earlier. He said it was more like a key ring than anything else.
Yeah, some kind of keychain, key ring. Yeah, we've debated for a couple of years now about what the best word is to use, but we felt we weren't in the position just to change the paradigm by ourselves and be oh no, we're no longer a wallet.
Right. Yeah. I know it's the hard part. It's well, who has the authority? This is a decentralized world.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, that is a tough one. And if you're not like, I don't know, I think there's two kinds of people in this space. There's probably a whole bunch of different kinds, but I think of people that are like the people who do the work, who do the building, and then there's people who are like, the faces that are just out there and they're just talking and they're, hyping and doing all this stuff. But the people that are doing the building, who are coming up with the ideas and making all this stuff, they don't tend to be the ones that are out there like selling it. And it's hard because it's like, you got to get their buy-in. And
got to translate it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what are some kinds of other kinds of wallets that are out there for listeners who might not know? So we know that there's an authenticator, so that signs transactions, right? And it also allows you to sign into things. What other kinds are there?
Going back to like the very beginning, there were what were called full wallets. And those were the ones that actually ran the entire blockchain on your computer and then gave you an interface to interact with it. Then we came kind of to this light wallet paradigm, which is like the first versions of Anchor really kind of were, where these light wallets no longer ran the blockchains themselves. They connected to a remote blockchain server, but they gave you that same familiar interface with, how to send tokens, just for example. Web wallets are kind of an extension of light wallets in that they're not even things you have to download. They're just like websites you go to and they act as wallets. And then authenticators are kind of this next breed where some don't even have the interfaces to do token transfers, like our mobile versions. Like all we do with our mobile version is store your keys and let you sign transactions with those keys. We don't even like have a send and receive. But that kind of opens the door to you using any interface with that kind of application. And ultimately in the future, the reason we've gone this route is someday we don't even think Anchor is going to be needed. It's going to be part of iOS. It's going to be part of Android. It's going to be part of your computer's operating system that performs this function. And then you'll use whatever interface you want, sort of like how your computer probably has a built-in password manager these days. It took us a decade or two to get to that point, where these large corporations finally started building this into their systems. But if crypto continues going the way it's going, that is a realistic future. So we've tried to make the separation, and like Anchor right now is important, but maybe someday it's not as much. But we wanted to take all the other important parts out and put them in other interfaces so that way those could live on forever. So there's a lot of different kinds of wallets.
You're definitely blazing a trail with your wallet for sure, though.
We're trying. We may be a little too early, but it's a little disjointed of an experience at times. But we think we have a pretty good long-term vision. It's just a matter of can we get people to buy into this? So
right. Well, a lot of people are familiar with MetaMask and how it operates with the Ethereum blockchain and the Ethereum, virtual machines. So how is that different than Anchor and how it functions?
They're pretty similar. MetaMask it started off as a browser extension, so it's a thing you just installed in your browser. And then it would serve as both a really basic light wallet where you could send and receive tokens. You could kind of see your last couple transactions on there. But its primary purpose was kind of as an authenticator. You'd go to a website and it would say connect wallet. And you'd hit connect wallet and then MetaMask would pop up and let you authorize it. That is the signer / authorizer / authenticator pattern that they, I don't know a lot of the history about MetaMask, but they came into this paradigm. And that was kind of the route that we went down as well, except for we're more embracing the authenticator side of things. Mm-hmm. So really, the only real differences are that they have this basic light wallet functionality built in, which we have in desktop right now. But otherwise, they do a lot of really similar things. If you get into the technical weeds of it all, I think that the way that we have built Anchor's signing protocol, it's the ESR protocol right now. It's a lot more flexible, and is why we've been able to like quickly deploy mobile apps. And that might be a key differentiator between us and MetaMask. Like, I think MetaMask may have a mobile implementation at this point.
It does, but it's not very good.
I
I don't use it.
It's largely because of how they built the first iteration of it all. And when we started from the ground up with wanting a protocol that would work on any type of device. Like, we wanted it so you could scan somebody's t-shirt or a business card, or, move your phone next to a point of sales service and the transaction to be able to occur that way. So we have like this really robust foundation that I think MetaMask is still trying to find. And so that's been a really exciting part of all of this. And yeah,
it's like you're building with the future in mind still, so you've got so many more options for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but otherwise they're really similar in a lot of ways. It's just from like a technological lens, they're pretty different. But to the end user, they do the same kind of thing. You authorize transactions with both of them. So very similar in that regard.
And then there's also what we haven't really talked about yet. There's also cold storage and hard wallets, right?
Yeah.
So you want to tell us a little bit about those?
I think the simplest way to describe a cold wallet is that the keys just aren't on a computer of any kind. They're not on any kind of device. Like if you use Anchor to set up an account, and it prompted you to print out the owner key certificate, which is this sheet of paper that has like a backup of your owner key to your account. That's a cold wallet. It is an offline copy of a key that you can then, like, say someday you really need it, you can then take that piece of paper and access your wallet by bringing it online. It's kind of, the reason it's hot and cold is, I think, it comes from computer terminology where you have like hard drives. Sometimes you have hot swap capabilities where you can just like change things in and out and bring them online and offline. So cold really just represents offline, and hot really just represents online. So when you hear exchanges talking about cold wallets, it's like their ceremonial in-person process where everybody has like different parts of the keys to unlock the account, but none of that's online. It's all like people-based and in the physical world. So that way, the idea is that if it is cold, if it is offline, you can't steal it as easily. Like, you can't get hacked and it can't be taken. Somebody could break into your house and take it, but that's a lot harder than, hacking a computer, for example. So, and as far as hardware wallets, they are, I have a Ledger right here.
Little ladybug.
Got a treasure.
I have a,
So,
just kidding.
They're small computer devices that house the keys, your private keys, that are designed so that way the private key can never leave the device. So nobody can take it and hack it and get the private key. Nobody can infiltrate your computer and extract that information. It is just a way to secure your keys better. So yeah.
So even more secure than cold storage?
Potentially. There's a lot of gray in that area.
Debate, yeah.
Yeah. So
the attack vectors are different.
Yeah.
So for somebody who's a beginner who really doesn't know anything about, who's just maybe watching this video for the first time and trying to find out about wallets, what this would be pretty confusing, I think, to like kind of hear this conversation and go, okay, I'm kind of getting it, but what would the recommendation be? I remember I was told at the very beginning was like, you need to write your keys down on a piece of paper, and it's, or print it out. But if you print it out, then it's in your computer. So you gotta be so secure. And so I had like a notebook, like with my like 51 character keys in there. And I was so I was just like so scared. And then one day I misplaced that notebook and I was like, oh my God, I lost $15 in EOS. But what would be the recommendation to just how to start? Like what should a new person do?
I think mobile apps, despite like the concern of you could lose your phone, it may be insecure, stuff like that. Those are probably the easiest ways to get onboarded into an ecosystem quickly. If you're talking about a lot of money, then obviously you are going to want something like a hardware wallet or cold storage or something and some form of education around it. So that way, you are your own bank. So you should learn to be a bank a little bit. Mm-hmm. But for the average user, mobile apps are probably some of the easiest ways to do this because most mobile apps these days are going to help you with that backup automatically. They're going to give you like a file to put someplace safe that you're going to put a password on. Or in our case, like as you create an account with Anchor, we tell you to print out this certificate. And then to go to the concern that you brought up about like now the computer knows because it printed it and that kind of thing. The way that our apps work is we have 34 words that make up your backup. So that way, you can type them in and it's a lot easier than like, capital J, small r. Like that's hard. But if you have 36 words, it's a little easier. What we do to solve the printing problem is we only print out 28 of the words. And then we show you the other 6 on your device that you have to go write down. So if you used a printer or a computer that was compromised, those 28 words aren't enough to steal your account. We actually did a promotion, I think it was in 2020, where we published 28 words with the 6 words missing. And we put, I think, 1,000 EOS on the account. And that was worth, I don't know, a couple grand at that point in time. And we left it running for about a year and just said, hey, anybody, if you can figure out the 6 words, these are your tokens now. And mathematically or like statistically, it was just impossible for anybody to figure out. There were just like some absurd amount of possible permutations. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's
so
really cool.
I think that's an even easier way to do it. So long as you have a printer, that is one of the big challenges we're facing.
That is a distinct limitation.
Yeah. So
don't send it to kinkos.com.
Print buffers as well.
Yeah.
Let's take it to the mire.
Let's talk about some more security things about wallets and how people can be secure, have security with their keys. There is I have 2 notes here about non-EOS IO and actually Antelope. New name, Antelope key security and non-Antelope key security and Antelope key security. Are there differences? General best practices?
As far as, a private key is just kind of it's numbers and letters that make up this string of nonsense that, nobody theoretically should ever be able to guess because there's more permutations of a private key than there are like grains of sand on Earth. Like there's some just astronomical number that we as people can't imagine of possible combinations.
Right.
There isn't really that huge of a difference when it comes to different blockchains. Like they may start with a different sequence of numbers and letters. They may be different lengths. Some use these like seed words or mnemonic phrases that are like, here's like Ledger does this. They'll give you 24 words and that is like your backup, which is a lot easier to remember. All of these all kind of boil down, no matter what blockchain, to the same thing. So when it comes to backups, like that's always the baseline. The minimum thing that you could do, no matter what blockchain it is take that private key, that string of gibberish, and put it someplace safe. Like maybe it's on a USB drive that you keep in a safe, or maybe it's on a piece of paper that you keep with all of your important documents, like your car titles and the things that if were stolen would be seriously damaging. So like that is a base level of all cryptocurrencies is probably a good thing just to kind of wrap your head around. It's hard when, they ask you to write it down because it's so hard to write 50 some characters down and make sure it's exactly right. Uppercase, lowercase. Is this an L? Is this a 1? It can be fairly rough. If you have the option to use a mnemonic seed where it's like, here's 12, 24, 36 words, like writing those down is a lot better because the words in those dictionaries were specifically selected to not be similar. They're not going to give you 2 words that sound and spell similarly. So even if you misspell the word, most likely it's still going to be the right word because they're like, there are no similar words to that word. So, but across all blockchains, across all wallets, like this is kind of the core. It's just whether or not those wallets expose it to you. Like Ledger doesn't expose you to your private key. It just gives you the seed phrase.
Interesting. So then that makes me think about how we have different accounts can be authorized to use the same account, and the way that can be used as a security feature in itself, right?
Yeah.
So like I can, Nathaniel can just provide me a public key, and I can make him an authorized user of my account too if I want, and I can revoke that at any time.
Yeah.
Same for another thing was like using Rex staking as a security device, because we can use the owner key to change an active key in the amount of time it takes to unstake. So I think that's kind of where I was thinking with the difference between like an Antelope security that we have access to, I guess, that other chains may not.
Yeah. It's honestly, that's one of the big reasons like we were drawn to this ecosystem was the account system. Like the fact that we have accounts and it's not just a key, and those accounts can have multiple keys with specific permissions. It's something that we launched with like back when the EOS platform was first being developed, even before EOS, the blockchain, launched. Like that was a feature that was here and existed. And it's just been such this powerful thing, like you said, to be able to grant somebody access to a thing, or maybe you want to use a specific permission to use an app of some kind. Like you can actually do that. We are one of the proposals that we're kind of working on and trying to push forward a little bit is to be able to do app specific keys. So that way you could use a key with a specific application. And if that application gets compromised, it doesn't jeopardize your whole account. These are the sort of things that Antelope enables us to do.
Yeah.
And it's surprisingly, it hasn't been like evolved a whole lot since launch. And hopefully we can bring some focus back to that and really start looking at like, okay, how do we use this really cool system to just make these blockchains even more user friendly?
Right. And safer, right, for all those people that we talk about mass adoption and how it's hard to get people on board with these things that, the risk is so high, right? But if we can mitigate risk further by doing stuff like that, I think it's a lot easier to convince people to try new apps. It's like sometimes people get burned for trying new apps because they turn out to be, vulnerable.
Right.
Yeah. And it unlocks things like social recovery. Like if I gave each of you 1/3 of a permission to help me recover my account, then, that exists within the Antelope account structure where we could have something like that just on the chain already. It's just a matter of wrapping a user interface around it. So there's a lot of really cool possibilities we have. It's just going to take some people finding clever ways to use them.
Right.
One of the ways that we use it at GoodBlock as a block producer is Douglas has his key, and I, as the block producer, have another key which I can use to register and unregister and stake the Telos. So he's giving me exact permissions on those keys using Ezio or Antelope.
Yeah. You can treat an account like an organization almost.
Right.
Specific permissions. Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I think that seems to be something I haven't seen that. Although, truth be told, I haven't really looked at a lot of other blockchains outside of the Antelope system ecosystem, but it does seem to be kind of unique to Antelope and the Antelope chains, and also underutilized, because it's 4 years into this, I still don't see a lot of people that know how to do like multi-sigs or just a lot of different things. It's almost like it's the never-ending unrealized potential of the software and what we can do.
Yeah.
There's so much more we can do. It's pretty exciting.
One thing that we use it for within Anchor is that I explained the owner key certificate, which is your owner key. Let's say you have your iPhone set up or whatever, and it's already good to go, and that device has an active key on it, which means it can just do anything. And let's say you wanted to add, now you want to be able to access your account on your computer. If you use the owner key certificate, we use this advanced permission system to add a second active key to your desktop computer. So now your mobile phone and your desktop both have different keys. And so if one device gets compromised, you can deactivate that one device and that one key while your phone still works. And then there's also kind of a panic mode with the owner key certificates where let's say you got a brand new phone and you use the owner key certificate, you can say, reset all of my devices and just make it so this one new device is now the only thing that can access my account. And it will remove all of the keys from your account and then just add this one new key. So there's this really cool way for these accounts to integrate with your personal devices, all of them, without having to use the same key over and over again.
Right.
Oh, I need to copy this key from device A to device B. That's not a great user experience. How about we just make a new one and use that?
Yeah.
So
sending it
really
to
cool
yourself,
system.
which is the same problem as other things. Yeah.
There's so much to learn and so many possibilities. It's really, really exciting. And what else I want to know, Aaron, what else are you working on at Greymass? So when I looked at your guys' website, I was kind of blown away by all the projects you have.
Yeah, and it's we're actually redoing our website right now because it's not really representative of current day Greymass. That really hasn't been updated in a couple years.
Okay.
Right now we are focused on Anchor, and then we're also focused on Unicove, which is our web wallet. We want Anchor and Unicove to kind of play hand in hand. So that way, Anchor stores your keys, and then Unicove is the interface that you can check your balances, you can send tokens, you can do different kinds of operations. And those two apps play nicely together. The other big thing we're working on right now is we've been pushing through, we're calling the web client SDKs right now. It was a project that early this year, we proposed in the Wallet Plus Blue Paper that the ENF commissioned on the EOS side. And it's a series of tools that enable web developers to build Antelope-based applications. It's an area that we have struggled with a lot because of the tools that have existed, and the tools that exist really haven't been touched in years, whether that's EOS.js or UAL or any of these, the web developers are going to know what I'm talking about with these tools. It's hard to build web apps right now in any of these blockchains. So we have a proposal to build a brand new suite of tools based on one of the libraries that we created as we were building Anchor. And we want to just blow that out to a full suite of products that if you are a web developer that wants to build on these blockchains, start here, and it will guide you through and give you the tools you need. It'll connect you to wallets. It'll give you account creation. It'll handle resources for you. It takes all of the complexities away from the application developer and from the user and just kind of handles them for you. So that is kind of our next big thing.
So many people that need that out there. Are you guys getting Pomelo funding?
We are working with the coalition right now, and the coalition, we're going through all the steps, and it looks like the coalition is going to directly fund that initiative.
That's
good.
Awesome.
Wow.
They're working on
cool.
IBC and faster finality. I think those are the other two products. So
Wow, that's really exciting. That's really
Yeah.
exciting. So what is what do you have can I ask what's your timeline
Uh,
for these two things that you guys are working on? I know I hate it when people ask me that.
we have a timeline for these new SDKs, and from start to finish, we think we'll be done next summer, maybe next fall. But we want to piecemeal it out and do releases all along the way. So it might be usable, like parts of it might be usable by the end of the year.
Nice.
So we have a good chunk of foundational work done, and then we want to start just building it and releasing and building and releasing and building and releasing and get developers in the community using it so we can get that feedback cycle going.
Right.
This is not a tool that where we just want to build and put out and say, this is how you do things. It has to be a tool that we put out and then we collect feedback, and people are like, oh, well, this doesn't work great to do DeFi, or it doesn't work for NFTs, or like, those are really high level topics, but
Right.
we want that feedback because we're one set of developers, but we know there's so many other teams out there that could provide feedback that we just never would have thought of. So
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we
so
definitely
hopefully
get
that'll be
that.
starting soon.
We definitely get that on GoodBlock products, so I totally understand that. Appreciate it greatly, and I appreciate having been able to work with you guys with Decide Voter and the different things that we've needed. It's been great, and it works really well with Anchor. So very happy about that.
Yeah, that was a cool project. That is probably the first time anybody, and maybe the only time, I don't know, I don't keep track, but that somebody built a mobile app that communicates with Anchor's mobile app. So it's like this cool app to app experience rather than app to website. So that was like new territory and a new use case that was explored, and that was super exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Where can our viewers or listeners, as the case may be, find you and or information about your project?
Our website, greymass.com, is probably, it's a bad place right now, but hopefully in the next month or two, we're planning on relaunching it to have a lot better information. We have a blog on Medium that is also under Greymass that we are now posting regular updates to. And Twitter is another source, which is also Greymass, and they're all GREYMASS.
We'll have links for all of that down in the description box below. So feel free to check that out, and catch us all on Telegram.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron, for joining us and being here today. It was really great to finally meet you and have you on the show, and look forward to future collaborations with Greymass.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me know if you want me back for whatever topic.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been really awesome discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that was really fun. Let's change directions here and talk about the crypto BS block stuff of the week. Did you guys hear about the Ava Labs avalanche attacks Solana and cons the SEC headline?
This one was so crazy. So apparently Ava Labs, or allegedly, Ava Labs has been partnering with a law firm that is using the legal system to attack other blockchains, competing products, competing projects, etc., by way of the discovery process. So they're like finding private information, investors, stuff like that, for Avalanche, allegedly.
Allegedly. And does anyone know the name of this law firm? Is it, how do you say it? Roche?
Roche Friedman.
Are you sure it's not Roche?
Roche Friedman.
Could be Roche.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah. I read through that. I watched some of the incriminating video footage of this guy talking about what he does, how he does it, and it's pretty scary.
It's pretty unethical.
I think at some point he was bragging about having 25 different class action lawsuits against all these different, basically competitors or people that might interfere with Avalanche's business. Right. So just as competitors, not like actually interfering.
Right. But at the same time, that one of the things that was mentioned was that then, of course, draws the SEC's attention to those projects. So that's a separate attack vector they're using to just bring, negative attention to these projects by the government as well.
Right. The same tactic as swatting does for streamers, right?
Right. Yeah.
Bringing attention where it's not wanted.
Wow. Yeah. That is some BS.
Yeah. And while it's unethical, it's completely legal. You can definitely make a discovery against a competitor if you feel like there's something to be worthy there. But he's taking law to a different level.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because I always thought that in order to actually be successful at filing a class action lawsuit, you have to convince a judge, or maybe it's a group of judges, I'm not sure how it works, that harm has been made against someone by someone else, but by a group of people. And it seems to me that this Roche Friedman has some serious, I don't know, maybe they have like a template for filing class action lawsuit.
For sure.
Makes me wonder though, are the judges or whoever's deciding to allow this class to be formed, are they just so uninformed about crypto that they don't know what they're actually agreeing to, or if there's actually any malfeasance involved?
It also might be a misunderstanding on the part of like misrepresentation of them on the blockchain. If you see them, they believe that they are the first, the fastest, the proof of stakest, So
The stakiest of proof.
They are. So there might be some misrepresentation in there and then that will leave them into discovery because the question's open, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's a weird little exploit in the court system that they don't know blockchain as well as because it's so young.
For sure. Definitely think that's a possibility. Really, really fascinating. So if you haven't heard about this, check it out. And I would be interested to see what happens if this proves to be true. What happens to the price of AVAX?
Could lead to some interesting price fluctuations.
For sure. I wonder if there's a way to make money in these circumstances. Speaking of which, that leads us to Moss's Market Minute with Nathaniel Moss in 1 minute explaining the market.
A short is the sale of the stock or a token you don't own. Investors who sell short believe that the price of a stock will decrease in value. If the price drops, and you can buy the stock at a lower price and make a profit off of it. Most common way to short crypto coins is by shorting its derivatives, like a future or its options. For example, you can use put options to bet against cryptocurrencies. You're selling a crypto you don't earn, and later on it gets fulfilled by the exchange at a lower price whenever you finish the process. Prediction markets are another avenue for shorting crypto. KuCoin and Coinbase have all three types of these shorting techniques. Investing in cryptocurrencies and other ICOs is highly risky and very speculative, but like the lottery, it can make you rich. Your mileage may vary.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.